Hello guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Hit the bell icon button so that you don't miss out any tutorial.
Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video we're going to work on images. So I would like to show you some different things that you can do with your images. Now this first image, the cat number one, kitten number one, what I want to do is I want to show you how to turn it into a circle. But if I do it in my style CSS, it won't look good because this is not a square. So we need to make it, pretty close to a square so that it'll look like a perfect circle when we put our style in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my folder where I'm going to minimize this and this, and I'm going to go to the folder where the kitten image is. I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to drag it to my desktop. And now I'm going to open it with a text or with a editor like Paint or something, and I'm going to crop it outside of the website. So I'm going to use Paint, and you can use any kind of editor that's going to work for you. Okay, so first of all, this picture's way too big. So first thing I'm going to do is just resize it. So let's resize it. So I'm going to hit resize and skew. So I'm just going to hit resize, and I'm going to go and click on pixels, and it's like in the thousands. So I'm just going to make it something like 300, and then I'm going to maintain the aspect ratio, and then I'm going to hit OK. All right, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to crop it so it's more of a square. So let's see, let's hit crop, and let's select just the kitten itself. Whoa, what did I just do? Whoopsie, undo. Select, sorry, I gotta use the select button. Okay, so I'm gonna just select the kitten and make it as close to a square. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Looks pretty good, and I'm gonna hit crop. And that's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna save it. And now I'm going to drag it back into my folder. Okay, I probably could have edited it inside the folder, but it's okay. All right, now I'm going to close up the folder, and I'm going to go back to VS Code, bring it back up, and I wonder, I'm just going to save, and then I'm going to refresh, and we've got more of a square now for our kitten. Okay, now I am going to I think I'm going to take away the height here because I don't think I need it anymore since I edited it already. So I'm going to hit save again, and I'm going to refresh, and it's the same. Oh, well, it's a little bit better. Okay, even better. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my style, and now, oh wait, we got to go back to index, because we want to target just this image. If we go and target if we target image element, we'll be targeting both images. So I only want to target this one. So I'm going to have to give it a class or an ID, and I'm just going to give it a class. All right, so here's the image tag. Now remember, this is also a link, so I want to go inside the image element. And at the very end of the image element, I'm going to click my cursor, and I'm going to say class equals, and I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to say circle image, circle image. Because if there's other images in my web application that I want to make circles, then I can use the same class. So notice that I gave it this special way of typing. This is called camel case, and it's very common in coding. If you have two words, you can either do camel case, which is doing a capital on the second word, or you could do a just like a hyphen and then image like that. Either one. In fact, I think that's the one I'm going to do. So it makes it easier for you to read your classes and your your labels basically. One of the two is really good. Okay, so I'm going to do the dash. All right, so I'm going to hit save, and now I'm going to go target the circle image. So I'm going to change this, and I'm going to say dot circle dash image. Okay, so what you do to make a circle is you use a property called border radius, and then the value is 50%. Hit save. And there we go. We have a circle image now. Cute. Now, if I change this from 50% to, say, 20%, it's going to look different. Let me show you what it's going to look like. So it just makes these corners curved, but not as much. So 50% is going to make a circle as long as your initial square is a square and not a rectangle. So 50% is going to make it a circle. If I change this to just image and not circle image, so just both images are going to be border radius 50%. Let's show you what that looks like. So this is more of an oval now because it was a rectangle, and this is the square. So you have to make this a rectangle if you want it to look like a real circle. Okay, so I'm going to go back to doing it just to the class of circle dash image. All right. Next, we're going to work on shadows and make our images look more like Polaroids or real pictures that are in 3D. So what we need to do is, and we'll do this for both of our images. So we'll go ahead and use just image as our target. And so this is called border box shadow. So we're going to use something called a box shadow to create some shadows and make it look 3D. Okay. So what we do is we just say box dash shadow, and there are several property or values that you can do to make it look really cool. So the first value is going to be for your I think it's horizontal or maybe it's vertical. It's one of the two. I think it's horizontal. So my first one would be a shadow that's going to go to the right of the image. So if I put, say, 5 pixels, and then the second number or value you're going to put in is going to be for your horizontal or vertical, this down here. So like the horizontal one is going to be over here to the right, and the second number is going to be down here to the bottom here. And let's go ahead and say 5 pixels again. And then the next number we're going to put is to blur it a little bit. And I'll show you what it looks like without that. So I think I'll do 3 pixels. And then our last value is going to be a color. So I'm going to say like a gray. Usually some sort of gray is a good color. So I'm just going to say gray. And then I'm going to hover over it and see if I can find a gray that I really like. So I will go to, maybe bring this down to, let's go to like maybe a bluish gray. And then we'll go over here. And that looks fine. Maybe a little lighter. Okay, let's take that. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit save and refresh. And then, okay, so you can see the shadow here. You may or may not be able to see the shadow, but I'm going to make it darker so that you can see it more. I'm also going to change this to maybe we'll make it bigger. Well, first of all, let's just change the color. So let's do that. Whoops. Come back. There you go. Why are you leaving me? Please don't leave me. Okay. What? You know what I mean? All right. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, let's make it darker. Let's go down here maybe. Okay. I'll hit save and see if we can see it better. Yeah, now we can see it a lot better. I'm actually, and you can see it here too in the circle. I'm going to make it bigger. So if I make the first value 10 pixels and hit save, you're going to see that the right hand side is a lot bigger. And then, so that's your first value. So that's going to be, I think it's called your, what is it, your horizontal? I'm pretty sure that's your, or your, yeah, I think that's your horizontal. And then this one, I'm going to make that one bigger too, 10 pixels. And yeah, maybe that's a little too much. Maybe I'll do 8. Do this one 8. And then I'm going to blur it some more. So if I make this like 10, save it, let's see what it looks like. So yeah, I like it a lot better because it blurs more. You can see how it blurs the edges. And this one, ooh, it says 18. No wonder it looks so bad. All right. And refresh. Okay, cool. Now there are a few other values that you can look up and do and work with on this stuff. Property value, the values for the property. There is something called, so we've got the H, which is the horizontal, we've got the vertical, we've got the blur. There's a spread radius. It increases the size of the shadow. So that one would be after the blur and before the color. So let's go ahead and add another number here. Let's say 10 pixels and see how it looks different. So it just makes the shadow bigger. It goes around more. See how it goes around the entire thing? So you could do that. And then the color, of course, you can change. And then there's something called Inset. And that changes the shadow from an outer shadow to an inner shadow. So let's go ahead and say, after color, let's go ahead and say Inset and see what it looks like. Save, and so the shadow is supposed to go inside the image, but it's really hard to see inside this image. So it's not going to be good. The only time you would use Inset like that would work is if you were doing a solid color. So in fact, let's look at it with our boxes, because actually this will look really good with the boxes. So I'm just going to copy all this and I'm going to stick it in the box and save it and see if we can see anything. Okay, so now you can see that there's a shadow inside the box, if that's something that you'd want to do. And what you can do, I've used the Inset before when I was creating bubbles. Like I wanted to make it look like a bubble. So it was like white color, like a beige color. The bubble was like a light blue color, and then the shadow was sort of like a whiter color, and it made it look like it had some depth. And so you can play around with that. So for example, if we change this to, say, let's change it to 40, make the shadow 40 and see what happens. Cool. So you can really, play around with all these numbers. And let's change this to, say, 30. And it really blurs it. So yeah, so that's a lot of fun. Okay, so that's what Inset does. I'm going to take this out and save, and then we'll go back to our images and take a look at our images. And I'm going to go and get rid of Inset and hit save and refresh. Okay, and I think you can play around with this a little bit, but I think I'm going to make the shadow a little bit smaller. So maybe I'll make this 8 and save. It's a little bit better. All right, that'll do it. Let's go ahead and stop the video now, and our next video we're going to talk about Flexbox, and we're going to be able to move our images around and have more control over how our images are looking on the page. See you in the next video.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, do give us a thumbs up and share it. Also check out amazing discounts and offers on our premium courses in the description below.